So we got it. We finally got it. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been traded to the Miami Heat. Yes, the saga is finally over.
The Milwaukee Bucks are trading franchise icon Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat.
13 years, 895 games, 2 MVP trophies, a Finals MVP, a championship, a Defensive Player of the Year, 10 All-Star appearances, and one city, Milwaukee. That was Giannis Antetokounmpo's world. That was his identity. That was his legacy. Until last night, when Pat Riley made one phone call and erased all of it.
One of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is going to Miami. The sweepstakes are over. We've been hearing about it, right?
The Greek Freak is no longer a Milwaukee Buck. In one of the biggest trades in NBA history, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been officially traded to the Miami Heat. And the NBA will never look the same again.
Shams Charania reported that the Milwaukee Bucks are trading away franchise icon, the Finals MVP of the 2021 NBA Finals, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You're watching the Final Bell. And if this is your first time here, this is exactly what we do. Every major move, every blockbuster deal, every story the league doesn't want you to fully understand, we break it down. Hit that subscribe button right now, because after today's show, you're going to want to be here every single morning. Let's get into it. It is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026, and we are coming to you on the eve of the NBA draft because the league decided it couldn't wait even one more day to detonate a bomb on the entire Eastern Conference. Let's start with the facts. The Milwaukee Bucks are trading franchise icon Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Miami Heat.
So we got it. We finally got it. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been traded to the Miami Heat. Yes, the saga is finally over.
Oh my God, I can't believe it happened! Giannis coming to the Heat! The Bucks are trading Giannis!
In return, Milwaukee receives Tyler Herro, Kal-El Ware, Jamie Jaquez Jr., Kasparas Jakušionis, 3 first-round picks, including the number 13 overall pick in tonight's 2026 NBA Draft, 1 pick swap, and 1 second-round pick. Read that back slowly. For players, 4 picks, a swap, all for one man. The Greek Freak, who arrived in Milwaukee as a raw, 18-year-old, fairly unknown prospect in 2013, grew into one of the best players in the world while delivering the franchise its first championship in 50 years back in 2021. After spending his entire career in Milwaukee and cementing himself as perhaps the greatest Buck of all time, Giannis has officially closed the Milwaukee chapter. A new one opens in Miami. And let's talk about the timing. This deal came late Monday night, the eve of the 2026 NBA Draft. That is not a coincidence. Milwaukee wanted to walk into draft night knowing exactly what they had. And Miami? Miami wanted the whole league to wake up this morning with their jaws on the floor. Mission accomplished. Here's the thing about this trade that makes it even more dramatic. Miami almost didn't get him. The Heat beat out the Celtics in this deal. Boston aggressively pursued Giannis, at one point, including Jaylen Brown in their offer along with multiple first-round picks. Think about that for a second. The Boston Celtics, the reigning Eastern Conference powerhouse, were willing to put Jaylen Brown on the table. A max contract all-star. One of the best two-way wings in the league. And Miami still won. Shams Charania had previously reported that the Heat and Celtics were seen as the finalists, with Boston aggressively pursuing the superstar. The Minnesota Timberwolves were also in the conversation, but ultimately fell out of the running. The Bucks, who fired Doc Rivers as coach after the season, don't have a roster that would be considered a championship contender. By trading Antetokounmpo, they can essentially start over with 4 players along with draft capital. And Bucks co-owner Jimmy Haslam had already telegraphed this was coming. Back in May, when the team introduced new coach Taylor Jenkins, Haslam said, "I just think before the draft is a natural time, right? Because if Giannis does play somewhere else, we're going to get a lot of assets." You got to get it right. They got the assets. Whether they got it right, that's a conversation for another morning. Before we talk about what this means going forward, let's make sure everyone in this audience fully understands what Miami just acquired. Giannis Antetokounmpo is 31 years old. He is a 10-time All-Star, a 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, NBA champion and Finals MVP. Over 13 seasons and 895 games with the Bucks, he averaged 24.1 points, 9.9 rebounds, and 5.0 assists. He has played in 84 playoff games, leading the franchise to a title in 2021 after scoring 50 points in the championship-clinching Game 6. 50 points in a closeout game in the NBA Finals. He became the only player in NBA history to rack up 5 All-Star selections, 5 All-NBA selections, multiple MVPs, a Finals MVP, and a Defensive Player of the Year award, all before his 27th birthday. And here's what's being underreported in all the chaos this morning. Giannis is only 31. He is not a declining superstar. He is not a rental. He is a player who, when healthy, is still a legitimate top 5 player on this planet. The caveat, Milwaukee went 32-50 in 2025-26, with Antetokounmpo playing in just 36 games due to injuries. Availability has been the question mark. But when he's on the floor, the conversation about his ceiling doesn't change. This is not Miami getting the ghost of a superstar. This is Miami getting the Greek freak in his prime window with one thing on his mind: a second ring. Now let's talk money. Because anytime you move a player of this magnitude, the contract details matter enormously. And what's happening here is actually fascinating. Giannis will become eligible to sign a 4-year, $275 million Supermax extension on October 1st, 2026. If he does not sign an extension, he could become an unrestricted free agent next summer in 2027 if he declines his $62.8 million player option. So what you have here is Miami essentially making a 2-stage bet. Stage 1, land him. YW checkmark done. Stage 2, convince him to sign the extension by October. And everything we know suggests that's coming. Giannis would have signed an extension with either finalist, the Heat or the Celtics. He was ready to commit. He just needed to know which uniform he'd be committing in. Now he knows. And Pat Riley, 81 years old, still operating at the highest level of this league, now has the signature he's been chasing since LeBron walked out the door in 2014. People are going to spend weeks debating whether the basketball fit works. We'll get there. But first, let's talk about something that doesn't get enough credit in the trade analysis cycle. Culture. Heat culture, as described through countless interviews, has developed the mantra of a relentless, work ethic above all environment that Pat Riley built over decades. It was made for a player like Antetokounmpo. He has always been defined by effort. It's clear he and Riley are completely aligned on wanting to win another championship. Think about every great Pat Riley acquisition: Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler. Every single one of those players arrived in Miami with a chip on their shoulder and a hunger that couldn't be satisfied anywhere else. Giannis fits that profile perfectly. Giannis himself said it best during a training camp interview in Miami. Every basketball player, every athlete starts a career and they have this quest of what they want to accomplish and what to be remembered for. And I think at this point, I've accomplished everything that I've put my mind to. He said that I am Miami. And now Miami, IS, is home. That's not a coincidence. That's a man telling you exactly where he wanted to be. Okay, now let's have the honest conversation. Because this trade is not without its complications. Giannis and Bam Adebayo form one of the most switchable, physically imposing front-court duos in the league. 2 players who can guard all 5 positions, finish above the rim, and anchor Erik Spoelstra's defense-first identity without missing a beat. Defensively, this is a nightmare matchup for every team in the East. But offensively, there are real questions. Dealing Tyler Herro removes Miami's best shot creator and primary floor spacer. Antetokounmpo and Adebayo are both at their best as finishers, cutters, and drivers rather than perimeter threats, which puts real pressure on the supporting cast to space the floor. Translation: Miami needs shooters. Desperately. And right now, they are thin in that department. Erik Spoelstra is one of the 2 or 3 best coaches in the NBA. If anyone can figure out how to run 2 dominant bigs and manufacture enough spacing to survive in the modern game, it's him. But let's not pretend this is a plug-and-play situation. The East just got more interesting and more complicated. And now, the other side of this story, because someone always gets left holding the bag. Milwaukee's bag is filled with picks and youth and uncertainty. The Bucks went 32-50 last season, finishing 11th in the Eastern Conference. They look as far away from a title as they have in a long time, and their best player couldn't help but notice. Milwaukee is an example of how life can come at you fast in the NBA. It capped off the 2020-21 season by lifting its second championship, and things were never that good again. Chris Middleton's knee injury doomed the repeat bid, which ended in a second-round exit to Boston. A shocking first-round loss to Miami in 5 games followed in 2023. With that upset came the realization that Milwaukee had an aging roster that would become very expensive. And then came the Lillard saga, the Miles Turner gamble, the Doc Rivers firing, the ironically ultimate twist, Lillard landing on the Bucks in the first place, indirectly led to Giannis winding up in South Florida. Milwaukee now has Tyler Herro, a legitimate offensive weapon, Kel'el Ware, Jamie Jaquez Jr., and a war chest of first-round picks, including number 13 tonight. New coach Taylor Jenkins takes over what is essentially a blank canvas. It's not a death sentence, but it's a very long road back to relevance. Let's zoom out, because this trade doesn't just affect Miami and Milwaukee. It reshapes the entire landscape of the NBA. The New York Knicks won the championship last season. They woke up this morning and found out the second-best team in the East just added a 2-time MVP. The Boston Celtics lost the Giannis sweepstakes. They were willing to put Jaylen Brown on the table and still came up short. The front office is going to be answering questions about that for months. And then there's the rest of the league, Cleveland, Indiana, Orlando, teams that spent the last 2 years slowly building toward contention. All of them now have to recalibrate their ceiling against a Miami team that is suddenly playing a different level of basketball. Pat Riley now makes his long-anticipated landmark acquisition, with Antetokounmpo joining elite Miami acquisitions such as LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal. Pat Riley has now landed a superstar in 5 different decades of NBA basketball. That's not a front office. That's a dynasty of decision-making. Here's what I want to leave you with this morning. Giannis Antetokounmpo did something incredibly rare in modern sports. He stayed loyal to a small market when he didn't have to. He passed on bigger cities, bigger markets, bigger guaranteed spotlight. He won a championship for Milwaukee, the kind of championship that city may not see again for decades. He didn't demand a trade. He didn't go to the media. He didn't leak complaints. He stayed. And then, when it was clear the window was closed and the chapter was over, he left with dignity. The Bucks haven't won a playoff series since 2022 and have suffered 3 straight first-round exits before missing the playoffs entirely this past season at 32-50. Nobody can blame him. What comes next is a brand new story. The Greek Freak, South Beach, Pat Riley, Bam Adebayo, Erik Spoelstra, and somewhere in Milwaukee this morning, 895 games worth of memories are being framed. This is the Final Bell Daily News. We'll see you tomorrow.